Hello, my name is Zainab and welcome to my channel. Last time we talked about the meaning of serenity and I said it's gonna be about 4 parts. So today is part 2 and today we're talking about the serenity prayer, which I really do like. It is a prayer attributed to the American Christian theologian Reinhold Niebuhr in 1943, and the prayer goes as: God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things I can change, and the wisdom to know the difference. So it is really a beautiful prayer. The prayer is longer than this, but this is the part I want to focus on today specifically. If you want to know more, just go search for the serenity prayer and you're gonna have it complete. The first part, which is God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. So what does that mean? It means basically that we have a lot of things in life that are out of our control. We cannot change them. So if you cannot change something, what else can you do? You have two possibilities. One is just whine about it your whole life, or just complain about it, feel all the negative feelings. Or the second choice, which is the better one, is to have the peace with it, or to make a peace with the situation, whatever it may be. First part of the prayer, we're really asking for the serenity. And if you remember from the first video, we said the serenity means peace of mind, where we're not really troubled with whatever is going on with life, or whatever is going on that is out of our control. So if we think of the meaning of serenity, so when we are faced with things that we really cannot do anything about it, the best attitude to have is accepting it as it is. Second part is just the opposite, which is the courage to change the things you can change. To have the courage to do the things that you actually can do, because sometimes there's a lot of things that you can actually change, but we may put them to the basket of the things we cannot change and ask for peace of mind with it, which we're not gonna get. The first part, that we're asking for peace with the things we cannot change, and the second, we're asking for the courage to change the things that we can change. I think it's like internal and external. The things that we cannot change are generally external conditions. The second part, where we're asking for the courage to change what we can change, is generally in ourselves, because we only have authority over ourselves. We can make ourselves do things even if we don't like them, but we cannot make other people do things that they don't want to do, or change the situations that is really not in our control. So, and the third part, which is like the most beautiful part, the wisdom to know the difference, to know where to continue, to know where to stop, to know where to speak, to know where to keep our mouth shut. so this last part is really cool, because when you know the difference between the things you can change and the things you cannot change, and you know what to do, then what else is? Prayer really reminds me of two things. The first is the importance of flexibility in life. Like, you cannot be so focused, so rigid about something, because maybe, hey, it is life, you may just have to change the way. So having the mindset that there are things that we actually can change and there are others that we cannot change, can give us a sense of flexibility. When we see it is not working, we have done all we could, then we're just gonna look for another way out, instead of just being stubborn and stuck with something specific. So this is the first thing it reminded me. The second thing it reminded me of is Aristotle's golden mean, which is really cool too, that says that the virtue lies between two vices, or between two extremes. If you have, like, imagine like a spectrum, and you have the beginning of the spectrum and then you have the end of it. So the accurate, or the best place to stay, will be in the middle. And the famous example given to explain this beautiful theory is the courage example. There are many examples, but I think this one is cool. So if you have someone courageous, like they're very, very courageous, like their courage is like to the extreme, to the end of the spectrum, then we're gonna have someone who who's very inconsiderate about themselves and about other people. Like they do not care about any consequences. There is no even like a little fear. So the person becomes like very dangerous. We don't call them courageous anymore. We call them crazy. And then we have in the beginning of the spectrum, if you have someone who really does not have any courage, like not even like a tiny bit to do even the smallest things, to try the smallest challenges, then we call them coward. So we have coward and then we have fool, and in between, the person who knows when to go a little harder or when to stop, or which danger you should put yourself in and which you should not definitely put yourself in. We call that person courageous because they know when to go, when to stop, and when you can keep the middle place, the middle level of the vice of going very down or the vice of going very extreme, then we call that virtue. And I think it's really, really cool if you can apply that to your life, to know where you're being too much and where you're being too little. And these are the two things that I really think of, or it reminds me of when I hear this prayer, which is flexibility. You have to be flexible in life. It is just not like white or black. The gray area is really huge, so you have to be very flexible. And before I conclude, I want to share another idea, which is that you may have noticed the prayer belongs to Christian faith, right? But and I obviously have my side. But the thing that I want to say is that it is important to have an open mind about life, not too open until your brain falls out, as says Richard Freeman, but it is good to have an ideal openness or ideal flexibility about our beliefs, our choices, whatever we have in life. It is good to have some flexibility about it in life. What we want to be with the truth. So the only way that's going to get us closer or get us faster to the truth is having an open mind and heart, and not being too rigid about whatever we have, or too egoistic, or too anything that has like too is really dangerous. So we want to keep as we said on the golden mean, we want to stay between. We don't want to go too low, we don't want to go too extreme. And so my advice to you is just take from whatever you can take from, look for whatever you can look for, and see what it can add to you. It is definitely not going to take away from you, it is just going to add more. So it is good to be flexible and kind. To conclude what we said so far, we can say that we talked about the Serenity prayer, which is asking, and I want to make something clear. You don't have to be in a specific position, make specific movements, or say specific words to be able to be in a position of praying. You already pray when you wish for something, and wishing for something is really not intentional. Sometimes when you are in a hard situation, you just wish that you were not there. So like our automatic behavior is sometimes prayer, whether we ask for something or we ask protection from something else. So there are no rituals for praying. You just pray naturally. It just comes out. You say it or you don't say it. That's like something else. But in our nature, we do have a tendency to ask for things and to ask also protection from other things. So the word prayer or praying is really big and encompassing. It includes all the activities or all the desire or all the little wishes that we have to that huge thing that we call as a praying. In that prayer, we ask for the peace of mind about things that we really cannot change, and we ask for the courage to change the things that we actually can change. And finally, we really do wish for the wisdom to know when we should continue or when we should stop. I think it's really beautiful mindset to have about life, or something to understand about life, because it is life and life happens, things goes out of control. So it is good to know when you should go further, when you should stop, when to know it is your responsibility, when it is not your responsibility. This is what I wanted to share today, and see you next time. And until then, today I'm gonna say stay flexible and stay on the spectrum.